Can we say or
No.
like?
I think being a lady boss.
It's badass. Like, to be a female pilot is just like point blank badass.
Why did I spend all that money at the other flight school when I could have just come here?
Another crazy driver, another crazy lady driver. I was like, I just kept quiet.
I don't even trust like women to drive, let alone fly a plane. There was no decision, like I knew I was gonna come here.
I feel like every time I fly with you, you're changing my life.
Just embrace the journey, make yourself a better pilot, do your groundwork, and enjoy it.
We have a lot of life to live, and I want to be in a career that I'm enjoying the rest of my life and that I want to go to work proud to do and happy to do and excited about.
Hey guys, Wayne from Sling Pilot Academy here. Super stoked for this week's video. We've had an enormous March. We had our SkyWest event to celebrate our new elite training partnership. Weather didn't cooperate that weekend, but we made up our 200 flights last weekend. We hit more than 1 million views in our YouTube channel, which has been fantastic. And then it's Women's History Month in March. So we sit down this week with about a dozen of our CFIs and students. They share some of their stories as it pertains to aviation. Buckle up, it's a long video. We did our very best to cut it down, but there was so much good information that we want to share with you. Enjoy the video.
Can we say or
No.
like if that doesn't? Okay, no. Because I was just answering in my head. I'm like. And I was like, if I say that on camera. Hi, my name is Jessica Nieves, and I am working on my PPL.
Hi, I'm Jennifer DeSalle. I got all my ratings here at Sling, private instrument, commercial, CFI, CFII, and multi.
Hi, my name is Nina Yang. I'm CFI, CFII here at Sling Academy.
Hi, my name is Taylor Ishida, and I'm working on my PPL here at Sling.
Hi, my name is Rola Elmala, and I'm working on my PPL, private pilot license.
Hey, my name is Tiana Puglisi, and I'm working on my instrument rating.
Hi, I'm Divya Persley, and I have my private instrument, and I'm doing my commercial right now.
Hi, my name is Janessa Larsoul. I have my private, my instrument, and I'm working on commercial, multi-engine, and CFI.
Hi, my name is Summer, and I have my private. I'm working on my instrument right now.
Hi, my name is Roz Chang. I'm currently working on my private.
Hi, my name is Kelly Wong. I finished private working on instrument, and we'll be doing the rest of the instructor licenses and commercial as well.
So for me, being a female pilot means being like the model that other females that want to get into the industry can look up to. Because for me, I initially left the industry because I didn't feel like I had anyone that I felt represented by. And so now I'm back and I feel like I am meeting other people that are like me. I can be that example for other females. And the other day we had an event here at Sling where we invited high schoolers and college students to come learn more about the industry and about our school. And there were a lot of girls that showed up, and there were a few girls that literally afterwards pulled me aside and they were like, oh my gosh, like meeting you inspired me to really want to like jump into this career. I'm glad that there is at least someone that they can look up to and identify with, so that like it makes this career so much less intimidating and more open to everyone.
I totally agree with what Roz was saying, because if you literally like look up the word pilot, you're mostly going to see a lot of guys, not many people of color, and so I completely agree with Roz, like seeing other women in aviation, that's exactly how I got into it, so being a lady's great.
I think being a lady boss, we're starting to take over and try to dominate the male world in aviation.
Wherever you come from, I think aviation is relatively really easy to get into the field if you are truly interested. People are very encouraging.
I mean, to me, it just means women can do everything that men can do, and we can do it better.
Oh. For me, it just means breaking barriers, because growing up, I never thought it was even an option. I mean, from traveling all the time with my aunt, like you only see guys in the flight deck, and I didn't think it was I just didn't think it was possible until I met more people, more women that were like, there's a few of us, but you can still do it. For me, it just means being able to do something that I never thought I could before.
I think that it's really a great feeling to inspire other people who are the same as us, that we're all capable of doing something that seems super unnatural and impossible, right?
To answer that question is like looking into culture, where you come from, what the culture looks like. For me, being a Puerto Rican woman, growing up in a little island of Puerto Rico, it's breaking the status quo. You know, it's breaking structure and mindsets, right? Obviously, aviation is male dominated. But as women, we're expected to do certain things and certain careers, and stepping into a pilot and aviation environment is breaking that status quo and believing in yourself that you can do whatever it is that you put your mind and soul to.
It's badass. Like, to be a female pilot is just like point blank badass. And it's cool because we all get to rewrite the story for females going forward. Like, we're making history, which is really cool to see in the process.
For me, when I was starting to research the aviation career, I would watch videos of women pilots, and sometimes I'd go to the comments section and there'd be comments saying, oh, I wouldn't get on this plane, I don't even trust like women to drive, let alone fly a plane. And I was very worried after seeing that a lot of people wouldn't take me seriously, especially because of my age. But that's one of the reasons that I chose Sling. When I came here for my introduction flight, I was surprised to see so many young people, so many women, and even people from out of the States, you know, in other countries. It's so incredibly diverse here, and I knew I would fit right in. And so after being here, I've never experienced like anything like that because it's so rigorous, the training for being a pilot. So anyone who's actually in the aviation field can understand that we don't just get it easy and, you know, just go out there and fly the plane. We go through the same amount of work that everyone else does, and I think that there's a lot of respect in the aviation field from our peers, from people above us, you know, people who are just starting off, because we all start in the same spot, and people have been so welcoming here.
You have a female pilot, but then people, all the ground crew will just immediately think that she's either a flight attendant or something, so they'll hand her a lot of stuff for the flight attendants, and we're like, oh, no, that is not for her. That's, you know, that's the stereotype that you usually see on the job. But at Sling, they probably have the highest concentration of women I've seen so far for a flight school. I got my private in Hawaii, so over there I was usually the only one, and they were welcoming, but it wasn't, you know, there wasn't a community and whatnot. But then over here we got to bond, and then you'd be like, oh my God, we're fighting for the same goal, and it's really good, yeah.
The aviation community in general, once you're in it, is like very welcoming. I know it seems really intimidating at first, but I feel like everyone in aviation really does truly want to help each other, and especially at Sling. It's such a unique experience to be a woman in like a male-dominated industry, and I think it makes us like that much tougher and that much cooler.
I feel like now too, a lot of people online are saying that women are getting hired to meet some kind of diversity quota, and we work just as hard as men do, if not harder, because we have more to prove. So I think it's unfair for people to assume that we're just getting hired and we didn't put in all the same effort that men did. I think that's something that I like about Sling, is I've never had any experience like that. All the instructors are great. They treat everyone the same. They give everyone the same opportunity.
Regarding discrimination, yes, I've gotten that a lot. I used to be sensitive to them, and I used to take them personally at first, but the more that I've seen them, the more as bad as it sounds, I became numb to them, but I think it's also a good side to them. You know, all those, you know, obviously there are good messages out there, but there are really mean comments, such as like emojis of a bomb, you know, and they're like, don't land into buildings, make sure not to land into buildings and all that stuff. I have a lot to say, but it's like, I just hold myself and let just actions like kind of try to speak louder than my actual words, because people won't listen, they need to see, you know. When I came here, there's a lot of women, and I was like, wow, I felt like comfortable, because it's like, you know, I'm not around males all the time, so just seeing women around just makes me just happy, like feel like the internal peace within. But that's the good part about Sling Pilot Academy.
When I tell people that I'm a pilot, or when it gets revealed, then they're kind of surprised or shocked. It sometimes could feel like they're underestimating my abilities. Same thing when I tell people I ride, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you ride a motorcycle. That's so dangerous, you have to be safe. If a man is flying a plane, do you tell them to be safe and say, oh my God, it's so dangerous, I don't think you should do that? Like,
I do have female friends in aviation, and one of them, there was an article released on her, and then to see the comments of a lot of other people, even female, which I was surprised to see, was kind of like eye-opening in some way. And one of the comments said, how many men did she sleep with to get her certificates and get to the position where she is right now? And I was like, whoa. She called me crying, and she was like so disappointed that people from her own country were saying things like that, instead of being happy for her as a female from a different country, not the US, to achieve such thing, right? So I guess that's one of the few things I've, experienced firsthand.
When I was grocery shopping, there was an old guy. He just kept talking to me, and then he asked me because I told him I was in school, and then he asked me, what do you do? What do you do? So I was like, I'm doing my pilot training to get my licenses. And then he was like, oh, another crazy driver, another crazy lady driver. I was like, I just kept quiet. And then he said, did you heard what I said? I was like, yeah, but I don't care because guys are crazier than girls.
When I told some people that I wanted to become a pilot, it was my friends, and I know they were joking, but they're like, why don't you just marry one instead of be one? And I was like, because I'm a flight attendant, and there's a lot of flight attendant pilot couples, and it's cute, that's great. I have friends who are married to pilots, and I was like, why can't I just be one? But deep rooted, it's because that's a stereotype. Girls are gonna be flight attendants, men are gonna be the pilots, and the flight attendant's like, oh, captain. And I was like, no, I want someone to do that to me. And so yeah, here I am.
That's funny that you said your friends, because one of the first friends that I told I wanted to be a pilot, she was, but that's a male job. That's a guy's job. And I'm like, are you serious? But I'm like, nah, whatever, I'm still gonna do it. Like I said, things really don't bother me. If anything, gives me courage to keep going even farther. And it hasn't been easy, right? It hasn't been easy. It's not easy, but it's not impossible.
And the more and more women I meet at work in the flight deck, the more I figured out that it was a possibility to become one, and it wasn't just a taboo thing.
It's been really cool to see the progression of how many female pilots we have at Sling now. I started last November, and there was 2 girls, myself and another, and I think our last class was almost like 30% women, which was awesome. So to see the progression, and it's just going to keep growing, it's really inspiring, and it's cool that Sling is really cultivating that culture and creating an awesome environment for us to work. I mean, the standard across the board, I don't see personally, I haven't seen any kind of discrimination, like guys getting things over women.
So I'm also a flight attendant at SkyWest still right now, presently, and I finished my probation recently. And I asked my supervisor, do you know anything about our professional leave? She said, oh, I don't know, let's look at the website. I've looked at this page in our website so many different times. I'm like, okay, I guess, yeah, we can look at that. So I scroll down, I see, wow, Sling is here? Because I've looked at it before, it's never been there. And I heard about this school a long time ago when I first immigrated to the US. My friend told me about it. I eventually didn't come here, I went to a different one. But when I saw this during my probation meeting, I thought, I have to go here. This is like a big sign for me. I did the intro flight here, I had a tour, and based on my previous flying experiences at different schools, I could tell that this is a really efficient and amazing school with so many planes, well-maintained, full glass cockpit, so many instructors and people training to be instructors as well. So I came here primarily for the community and also the exceptional maintenance and the feeling of being safe in a plane.
One of our flight attendant friends told us that they heard good things about Sling. So we're like, you know what, let's just come check it out. And we came here and then we got the tour and it was really nice. We got to meet you, Megan, and Leslie on the spot, so got to talk to you guys a little bit. And then it turned out to be a really good fit. Yeah, they're very welcoming and they're very willing to work with your schedule, and it worked out really well. It was green hair. She had little green hair back then, yes.
Full hair, back in training, so.
I started training at a different school originally, and at first I just was flying as a hobby, but just fell in love with flying and wanted to make it a career, and I just felt like I wasn't moving fast enough at the other school. So I looked up other flight schools in the area and I found Sling, did an intro flight, and decided this was a better school.
So I found out about Sling by taxiing on the taxiway when I was in another flight school's plane. So then I went home and I looked it up and I was just like, cool planes, okay. But I was flying Cessna at the time, so I wasn't really thinking about Sling. Anyway, the flight school didn't work out and I was just like, you know what, maybe I should give Sling a shot because I live closer to Sling than that school. So I came here and it was so nice. Everyone was welcoming. I met Wayne, I met John. I had the best intro flight of my life. And I was just like, why did I spend all that money at the other flight school when I could have just come here at first, you know?
For me, the biggest thing that I was looking for when I was researching schools was cost, because your girl is broke. So if you are broke, do not let that be a deterrent to join the aviation field. And so I was mainly looking at flight schools where you just do your flight training, you show up, you do your flight training, you pay hourly, because those were some of the cheapest options. But I came straight out of high school and community college where you have regular schedules every day. You're in a classroom setting full of people. You can study in groups, you have mentors. And so that's the best way that I found I could learn. And so I was amazed to find an academy, that had everyday ground school so that you're learning and applying what you just learned up in the air simultaneously. And we have the mentor programs here, and it was very affordable compared to other academies, especially universities. It's a fraction of the cost. And then I found out it's because these are experimental planes that use car gas, so they can keep their costs low. And one other thing was the people here actually looked happy to be here. They weren't miserable like, oh my gosh, this stress is too much. There seemed to be a really great community here. So after I did my tour and I flew in the plane, I knew there was no decision. I knew I was going to come here.
I've been doing research for a while, but never ever even visited any school. I would just go watch YouTube videos and then just leave, and then just watch stuff like Airbus. Has nothing to do with. I didn't even know Cessnas or Slings even plane exists like that. I didn't even know how this dynamic worked. It was just all the thoughts in my mind. But then I'm like, okay, let me just Google a school. And I think Sling popped up. And believe it or not, it was actually the first one I called, so I didn't even know about any other school. And then I came to Sling Pilot Academy. I made an appointment just to see the school, see how people study, and that's it. I didn't even know there was going to be a plane of discovery. I didn't you discover a plane and you see it around and stuff. And then John happened to be there, and he was like, oh, let's go flying. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I was like, where? Where's the big commercial planes? Do I need my passport? I didn't even know nothing. And he was like, no, we'll go flying right now. I was like, bro, my ID's in the car. I didn't even know what the papers were. I just had to sign a document, a waiver. And we flew to Catalina. I've always wanted to go to Catalina anyways before even Sling. And we just went to Catalina in 5 minutes. And I was like, I have pictures until now. It's it was crazy. You can tell, you could literally see the tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe that was a thing at all, flying and just felt free.
So the first step was for me to decide I wanted to be a pilot. It took a long time to tell myself that, okay, I'm okay with going back to school, studying books again. And so once I decided that, I decided to start taking flight lessons in Hawaii. Concurrently with my work schedule, so I was probably flying maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Sometimes I'd have 3 weeks off just because of weather and my schedule. It wasn't working out, it was just getting way too expensive. So then one day, one of my pilot friends said, hey, in 1 week there's going to be the Professional Asian Pilots Association convention in Vegas. And I was like, ooh, I have 2 days off, I can non-rev up. So I did, not knowing anybody. It's very intimidating because everyone's in business attire. I was about to walk out and say, no, I don't need to be here. I was on the verge of tears. And then I met Sam Chewy, and he was like, what's your journey? And I was like, oh, I'm a flight attendant for Hawaiian. And he's like, one of my friends is a flight attendant for Hawaiian. And then he found me later, he connected us. They're like, you need to come to Sling. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about this other school. They're like, no, do your intro flight, pick up a trip, whatever, just come to LA, do an intro flight. So I did, and I was like, ooh, I think I like this place.
I had a lot of friends that were in aviation from when I was flying about 4 years ago. And I had CFIs from other schools Other flight schools recommend Sling to me as like my top option because I was looking to do an accelerated program as well. So I was looking at comparable flight schools in the area or just in the country. I was kind of willing to relocate wherever. They were all really expensive and they were all pretty like hit or miss. They didn't have like the best reviews. And then I looked at Sling, I looked at the cost, which was also very important to me. The timeline and the curriculum was the same as like all the other schools that I was looking for that were just way more expensive. And the planes were just way safer and newer. And the thing that really like sealed the deal for me was knowing that our planes are just maintained right here. And there's also a lot of them, which means I would get to fly more often. Because I know at a lot of different schools, you kind of have to like fight for a plane for like 3 days a week. And here you're pretty much required to fly 5 days a week. And you get ground school included. They're both mandatory, which I think is awesome and will keep you on track. So you're not like dragging out your training and then paying a lot more.
I went to a going away party like that night after I went to tour ATP, and at that going away party, I met one of the instructors that works here, and they're like, "Oh, like you're gonna start, you want to like be a pilot? You should talk to Mark Cole." And I was like, "Okay," and he was just this like surfer kid in the corner, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Tiana, and I'm looking into pilot schools." And he's like, "Oh, like you should come check out Sling." He's like, "It's great." He's like, "No pressure." And it was super nice about it. He's like, "But I mean, you get a free flight if you want, so you might as well come try it out." I was like, "All right." So I came here and was greeted by Matt, and he was so sweet and like so adorable and was like, "I'm gonna change your mind." And I was like, "I don't think so. I'm a tourist. I'm very stubborn." Then I walked in and Mark was here, and then Leslie, one of our other CFIs who just got hired at SkyWest, she was here and she was like super spunky, super cool, and I was like, "These are my people, like this is awesome." The facility was really cool. I really fell in love with the planes that we get to fly instead of the Cessnas. We get to fly the Slings. So yeah, it just all seemed like a great fit. And the community is really what did it for me. I just enjoy being here, which I feel like at any other place it wouldn't be as diverse and it wouldn't be as inclusive.
I joined PAPA, the Asian community, and Long Beach 99s.
Yes, I'm currently part of the Long Beach 99s. We just went to Women in Aviation. They had a huge conference in Long Beach this year. That was super fun. PAPA, not necessarily woman, but that one is the Asian Pilot Association. Yeah, there's a lot of activities out there that one can join.
I also am part of the 99s. I haven't been to one of the events yet just because of scheduling, but I was actually just listening to one of the members talk about it, and I've found out that the reason they named it the 99s was because at the time there was literally only like 100 and something women in aviation, like 105 or something like that. And so they invited all of them to come together and form like a little group, and only 99 women showed up. And that's why they call it the 99s. And I thought that was like so crazy and amazing too, that like there was only like 100 something women at one point, and now we still don't make up a great percentage of it, but you know, there's so many now. Like I went to the Women in Aviation event a few weeks ago, and there was a hell of a lot more than 100 ladies there, and it made me really happy to see.
I am a member for the Latinos Pilots Association. I hang out with the 99s in Long Beach a lot. I do work, so it's kind of hard to like participate in everything, but I try.
I recently just joined PAPA and the Long Beach 99s as well. I haven't been to any of their events, but I know there's a lot of scholarship opportunities. So for a lot of people like me that, you know, are financially conscious, and we all know that aviation is a big investment, there's always scholarship opportunities that you can look for to kind of help you through your training if you need it, and joining these like associations is a great way to find those.
I'm a part of the 99s, Women in Aviation, PAPA, and NGPA. Currently, I'm a vice chairman of Long Beach 99 chapter, and yeah, we hang out a lot, right? So yeah, it's being a part of these organizations, it's very beneficial to me and to my friends as well, because like we get to connect, we get to make connection, we get to do things together, you know, and like a bunch of like people are like, "Hey, anytime you need a job, let me know, we'll help." So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
No, I'm not in any groups, but I would like to join several of them, like PAPA, 99s, Women in Aviation.
The Aloha chapter of the 99s put on a lot of different events. They had a seminar series this past summer, I think, and one of them was a far aim party. That was really fun. So I came with a beautiful looking far aim and everyone's like, wow! And I'm like, 99s. All the different chapters are doing so much to educate future aviators and current aviators.
I am not in any clubs or organizations yet, but I was actually talking to with Wayne, and we were talking about making, like, you know, there's Latino, there's Asian, so maybe doing an Arab, Middle Eastern, Egyptian, like more of that organization, or, you know, but that needs a little bit more time, because I feel like as Arabs, everyone kind of scattered around. I've never seen anyone in a community or anything, but Sling has a lot of Arabs, so you know, maybe just do one.
I'm not part of any of the clubs, but I keep getting invited to go. I did have the opportunity to go to the Women's in Aviation meeting or conference. It was so cool. It was just so cool. Like, to see, it was so inspiring to see all the different opportunities you have as a female pilot, and that the community is so broad. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely immerse myself in it. I just need to focus on this check ride, and then I'm all in, I promise.
We had a booth at the Women in Aviation that was really good. We were able to raise our awareness to other people in the aviation field, that they know about Sling, and we get to connect with a lot of other women pilots or women aviators in all sectors. There was maintenance, there was ramp, there was all kinds of people. It was kind of like high in the sense where you go to a yoga retreat, you feel really relaxed, and then you're like, and then you leave it and you're like, oh, it's like a sudden withdrawal, and you're like, okay, next year I have to go again. And then Sling is very supportive of our different organizations that we are part of. They usually sponsor us flights to go to fly-ins for the 99s a lot of the times. In fact, this weekend we have one going to Santa Ynez.
I really like Sling because I think all the instructors treat you with the same sort of like competence as they would with our male counterparts here. I don't feel like I'm treated any differently, like any better or any worse, and so it feels like we're just all part of the same family.
So I think it's like a theme of this video here, how supportive Sling is. As Nina mentioned, that we did a lot, we've done a lot of fly-ins. Like we try to do it monthly, also depending on the weather, but every time we do it, Sling's always like gives us like at least 4 to 5 planes for free to go to fly in, because they're very supportive. They want us to also advertise like, hey, like this is a good community, this is a good school, like you should consider coming here.
They gave us free shirts.
The moment I walked in, I just felt welcomed. I just felt like I was a part of the community already. And then I brought my parents a month later, and same thing. They're like, it felt really good. And they're like, okay, we'll feel comfortable like sending you away from home all the way over here.
I feel more welcome, like I feel welcomed. I can come here anytime. And just ask someone any question, and they're willing to help, and it feels like a sense of community and diversity. As an Arab, there's Arab people here too, so you know, it helped me get out of my comfort zone, and that made me feel like relaxed.
I think to just kind of reiterate, it's a family, and as corny as that sounds, like, yeah, it's a Sling family. Like, we're all going through this process together, and it's stressful. It's not easy. Like, being a pilot is mostly studying and groundwork, and this is the perfect environment to do that with the perfect people to help mentor. Like, everyone has gone out of their way to, I've mentored, I think, with everyone here. Like, everyone has gone out of their way to be like, hey, I want to help you. I want to give you this knowledge and help you and want to see you exceed. So it's really welcoming and cool to be part of, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
It's a very welcoming, friendly environment. Everyone is studying together, and if we have questions, there's always someone to answer anything and help you out with different things. So it's a very welcoming and learning environment, I should say. And one thing that has kept me sane in this process is take one step at a time. If you can see your next step, take it. And then you see your next step, even if you don't see the end of the line, because obviously it's a lot of ratings and certificates we're trying to get here. But if you can see the next step, just take it and be kind to yourself. Sometimes you have to do that. You really have to do that. Good thing we have the beach right there where you can just like sit there like,
So I studied humanities in college. My brain is very, very creative, very artistic, and that's not really something that you think of when you think of pilot. Being a pilot, you have to be very technical. And for me, I grew up and I was like, I don't know anything about my car. Coming here, like the way that you learn is so hands-on that it honestly makes it so easy for everyone to understand, no matter like what your background is. Anyone can be a pilot if you actually just apply yourself and work hard and you use the resources that you have here. Like for me, I'm not the best at understanding systems, but there are 60 people here in this building right now that can explain it to me in 60 different ways. So it's like, you will end up understanding it one way or another. So don't hold yourself back before you even try and just like have those limiting thoughts, because that's what I did. And I wish I could have flown sooner if I didn't have those thoughts in my head holding me back.
Don't be afraid and just ask questions, because you never know. Mostly in our heads a lot of the times, like, oh, like how Jessica said earlier, you had to convince yourself that yes, I can do it. And then you tell people will be like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's so badass, let's do it. So just don't be afraid and bring that first step out, and then everything would be really easy after that.
My first advice is to always believe in yourself. Pilot training can be tough and you have to learn a lot of things. Second, you have to find a good school, flight school, which is like Sling. We provide accelerator program here. And third is, once you start your school, never compare yourself to your classmates. If they soloed first, or if they had a good flight or like good landing, you will be able to make it. Just be patient and you'll get through it.
A deterrent for me that was a worry. Well, actually, no, this was my mom's worry. Because when I told her I wanted to be a pilot, the very first thing she said was, how are you going to find a husband if you're going to be gone like 2 weeks out of the month? And I was like, first of all, it's the 2000s, Mom, not 1800s. And also, I think that a lot of people are worried that, oh, being a pilot, there's only one career path, like being a commercial airline pilot, and that you're going to be gone half the month. And so people worry about like having a like strong home foundation. And when I got into this career field and I started looking into it, I realized there's so many more jobs in aviation. There's a spot for everyone. You know, there's cargo jobs. There's, you know, if people want to like help save lives, there's emergency transport. There's so many different opportunities. There's private airlines which offer, you know, maybe even you can be home every single night because they're local flights. And so I don't want that to be a deterrent from someone who may not know much about the industry and know how many opportunities there are.
You know, it's a fast program, but also no one's pressuring you to finish on time real quick. So it's to be calm and not take like thousands of information at the same time, because you're going to be brain saturated. I think that's the word, right? Take it one day at a time and like learn a subject really slowly, not really, like really slow, like just one subject at a time. Just make it simple and just do what they tell you in the class, in the ground class, you know, finishing your like stage 1, stage 2. Another thing would be, it's okay to make mistakes. I had people correct me. If someone's telling you something, just know that they're giving it from a place of trying to make you better and not from a defensive perspective, because there should be always room for improvement.
This is also like the best time to become a pilot too. Like the pilot shortage is crazy right now, that if you work and you get through all your hours, there will be plenty of opportunities for you. It's not like a super narrow field. Not as narrow as people think, especially at this moment in time. There are plenty of opportunities for everyone.
Do your research, talk to as many people as you can, and if you really want to do it, don't wait, just do it. I waited for a couple years because I was kind of struggling with my self-doubt. Honestly, like I don't know why I waited for so long. Like if you want to do it, just do it.
Going through high school and going through college and university, those are things that I felt like I had to do. Something that I must get a bachelor's degree at least. That's just my own personal minimums. When I started my flight training, the first flight, and I even told my first instructor, I feel like every time I fly with you, you're changing my life. We're going one step closer to my life being transformed. So I'm really indebted to every single instructor that I have, because even now, I'm pretty deep into my training. I still feel like, you know, every day is a step in a really beautiful direction. there will be so much pain and suffering for all the studying, endless stuff, studying and stuff. But I mean, there's still a lot of pain and suffering in anything you do, and normal studying for the traditional colleges and universities. A lot of tears will be shed, but I mean, if I'm doing something that I love, I don't feel like I must do this because I have to. I'm doing this because I want to. And if you do have that feeling like you love traveling and you love seeing the world, and you take a discovery flight and you realize that this is the right path for you, then you'll do anything to pursue that.
For me, it was interesting because I'm out here in California by myself. My family and everyone is in the East Coast and in Puerto Rico. So for me, it was trying to figure out the financial aspects of things, you know, and I have to work and go to school. So just know that if you do want to do this, it's possible. Just figure out a plan, tackle the plan. If it's a financial plan to afford to pay for school, or the time frame. You know, the program is 9 months, and for some of us, it has taken us a little longer, and that is fine. Just know that is your journey. You go at your own pace. We all have different backgrounds, different reasons of why we have to work, and we afford not to work, and you know, different things. So at the end of the day, it's your journey, and you becoming the best pilot that you can without time being a factor. If you can do it in 9 months, great for you. A lot of people have done it in 9 months, and a lot of other people has taken us a little bit longer. So just embrace the journey, make yourself a better pilot, do your groundwork, and enjoy it. You know, have a good balance, because the books will burn you out, work will burn you out. Have a good balance, and you know, have fun in the meantime.
I've heard from family and friends, when I told them initially that I wanted to be a pilot, that, oh, that's not fun. And I was like, that's not fun. Flying a plane is really fun. But they're just thinking, because I'm coming from flight attendant background, I'm like, no, I want to be up there. And so don't listen to any of those negative things. Because if you feel like it's fun, if you feel that it's something that you want to do, just go do it. So if you've taken your discovery flight, you already know, just do it. Because the only person stopping you pretty much is you.
There's literally a quote right behind you on the wall. It says, the most effective way to do it is to do it. Which couldn't be more appropriate. We have a lot of life to live, and I want to be in a career that I'm enjoying the rest of my life, and that I want to go to work proud to do and happy to do and excited about. Because there's so many jobs out there where it's just like a 9 to 5, and this isn't your normal 9 to 5. And I'd say, looking at like the specs of like the cost, it is a big amount of money in a small time frame, but it's an investment in yourself and in your happiness. And those two things I feel like you can't invest enough in.
And people say all the time, find a career where if you had to do this for the rest of your life, it doesn't feel like work. This doesn't feel like work. I mean, studying, yes.
Yeah.
But flying and having fun up there, no, it doesn't feel like work at all. It is very enjoyable. It's kind of, I don't know for you guys, but for me, I'm a daredevil. I mean, I ride motorcycles and everything, but the first time I got behind the stick on the sling, like, it wasn't intimidating until I did a stall. And then I'm like, whoa, what the? No, but it's just all practice, understanding the aerodynamics on the aircraft. The more studying you do, the less afraid you're gonna be up there. It's not scary. Like a lot of people say, are you scared? I'm like, no. I'm like, it's a little intimidating in the beginning, sure. You know, I'm not gonna lie about that, but you know, once you start learning the ground rules of how everything works, then you're like, oh, a piece of cake.
When it does get overwhelming, just take a deep breath and just let it out. And then, because we're gonna make mistakes, and especially when you're learning, at least you're gonna make a mistake. Do it when you have an instructor on the right side of you. But it does get overwhelming sometimes because there's so much information you need to know.
Yes.
But yeah, one of my coworkers said, it's okay to take a deep breath, give yourself, well, on the ground, give yourself a minute, and then just go right back into it.
Don't compare your journeys to others. You tend to come here and you see people that you started the class with, and then you're like, They literally finished like 2 licenses and I'm still almost finishing my first one. I'm barely there. You don't know what everyone is battling, so you just do your own part and you enjoy yours.
The best analogy when I was in my first like week or two and just trying to study, like absorb every ounce of information, the best analogy I was told is it's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant, because you're getting so many things thrown at you and it is overwhelming, like comparing yourself to other people and feeling like this process has to go because you're in that 9-month time frame. But it's not. Like at Sling, it's really accommodating and it's cool to see different people accelerating, and then they get to also help you, and then vice versa. So like there's always going to be someone in front of you and behind you, and you can just like give back as well as receive. So I think that aspect is really interesting.
Happy. I get it.
Do it.
Happy Women's History Month.
Feliz mes de la mujer.
So don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. It really helps us with our channel. We really appreciate it.
That's gonna be cringe though, right? You know when someone's like opening it, like, okay, I don't want to watch that.
Girls! Yeah!
Really?
If you're struggling with your studies, take a look at